Hello, my name is Gabriel from GabakUSA. In this video we are going to talk about EMI or RFI. What does it mean? Okay, it means electromagnetic interference or radio frequency interference. So we're going to talk about those things and how that can affect you as computer technician. So if you haven't seen my other classes about how to become a computer technician, I recommend you to go to the playlist so you can start watching from the beginning. So now we're going to start talking about the things that are common affected by this kind of interference and how to solve those problems. So I'm going to read in Wikipedia just a few sentences so you can know a little bit more, and if you want, you also can read more on this website. So electromagnetic interference is also called radio frequency interference. When in the radio frequency spectrum is a disturbance generated by an external source that affects an electrical circuit by electromagnetic induction, electrostatic coupling, or conduction. The disturbance may degrade the performance of the circuit or even stop from functioning. In the case of a data path, this effect can range from an increase in the error rate or a total loss of data. Both man-made or natural source generate changes electrical and current voltages that can cause EIM and all those things. So it's talking about many things. So if you want to read more, so basically what it says that any interference, like I said before, it may cause that your computer or maybe some peripherals might be affected by that. So you will have some problem with data or stability or any of those things. So if that is the case, I'm going to teach you here in the whiteboard how you can solve those problems. So the problem that you may encounter, it might be very basic. You may found this problem before or may not. Just let me know in the comment of this video. Usually you will have a problem with the speakers. So when you have some kind of interference with the speaker, you will start listening some radio or maybe some kind of weird sound or something like that, or static. So that is made by interference. The problem that I had in the past, in big cities, like when I was in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, there are like 20 million people over there. And the thing is, there are a lot of buildings and people are living in those buildings, and there are radio stations, TV stations, cell phone towers, and everything that you can imagine. So it's very common for a few of those people in those crowded areas that they have problems with this kind of speaker, with the radio interference, like I said before. So your computer might be off, and you turn on just the speakers, and you will listen some kind of radio. So when that happens, usually is when the speakers are very poor quality, or they don't have any filter, or maybe even if you put something very good, sometimes you cannot avoid any of those things. But the solution might be a little bit expensive depending on the country that you live, but there are some kind of paint that you can paint all your apartment or your house or whatever, or your office, and then this kind of paint prevent the interference, the radio frequencies entering in your office or your home. So that way you can reduce it. I don't know if you will prevent it 100%, but it will be helpful to mitigate the problem. So that is one of the things that you can do in order if you have this kind of problem. The other problem that I had, and you may encounter this problem, you will think, well, I mean, I don't care about any of those things that I just said, but listen, this topic, this one might be a huge one depending on where you are. I had a customer. He brought a computer to my computer shop that I had in Argentina. Now I'm living in US, just in case for those who ask where I'm living right now. So the thing is that a customer brought the computer to me, and then the customer said, "Hey, yes, once in a while I have like blue screen of death using Windows, just maybe surfing on internet or maybe with Word and all those things." And I say, okay, no problem, just like any other computer that I've been repairing for the past 15 years or 20 years. I say, yeah, no problem, just I'll fix it, I'll check everything. So I check the memory, I check the hard drive, so I pass the mem test, I pass HDD regenerator or any of those software to check the whole hard drive, the surface. I run the heavy load is a software that stress all the processor, the video card and everything, and I use the computer and everything. So I did the usually, I mean, the tune-up, you know, deleting the temporal files, checking if there is a virus or not. So I did everything that I do as usual. I didn't find anything weird. So I said to the customer, hey, look, I didn't find anything weird on this computer. Just I did a tune-up on this computer, and it seems to be fine. I mean, you can try it. I use it for a few days. I never had a problem. Usually, when someone brings the computer to me, I leave the computer a few days running 24/7. And if there is any issue, you should be able to see it. So this is the interesting part. So the computer, this person takes the computer to his home, start using the computer, and then after 1 or 2 days, he calls me back and say, hey, I had the same problem as before. The computer, I see blue screen of death, and I mean, I want to fix that. That is why I pay you. So I say, okay, no problem, bring it to me. That is weird. Here, I never had this kind of issue, but I mean, let's try again. I mean, maybe there is something weird I didn't see. Let's try to wipe and reload the operating system. So if there is anything weird with the operating system, that will solve the problem. So that is what I did. I wipe and reload, and then everything was working fine. I mean, I never had this problem in my business. So I say, okay, take it back, try again, let me know. I mean, if there is any problem, I'll fix it. I mean, I'll see what is the issue. So the customer called me the next day and said, hey, I have the same problem. Can you come to my home and see what's going on? So I said, wow, that is weird, because I mean, I tried everything, checked everything, everything was great. No, I never had any problem. So I went to his building. It was like 3 or 4 stories tall. So like this person was in the 4th floor or something like that. And then I tried the computer, 5-10 minutes, and then blue screen of death. I say, wow. I mean, I've been using the computer for many hours on my shop. I never had this kind of problem. So I said, okay, let's try without the power supply, just with the battery. Let's not connect anything, no printers, no nothing, just the computer by itself. So I had this issue that the computer has this kind of problem with the motherboard or something. Surely there was some problem with the motherboard. The computer was few years old. That when the computer was working at that height in that building, the computer started showing that kind of problem. If you, in the same building, if you go just to the ground, on the street, maybe on the first floor, the computer behaves just fine, no problem at all. So what it means is this problem was about the interference. So at that height, there was some kind of interference that when you were on the ground, you didn't have that problem at all. So maybe the computer was failing, and maybe some filter or maybe something was failing, but you cannot detect those things maybe on the ground. Maybe you have to detect or try to work on those issues on their customer home at that height. That is the thing. Sometimes that is possible, sometimes you cannot do that. I mean, you cannot take apart the computer, start repairing the motherboard and everything, and checking why it's doing that. Sometimes it's not worth it, and usually if the computer is maybe like 3 or 4 years old, it is not worth it to do all these kind of I mean, go to fix this kind of computer. I mean, usually it's worth it just to replace it. But what I'm saying is, if the customer uses just on ground or maybe any other place where there is no interference, computer works fine. Another thing that I had in the past with this is stability. I had problem with the trackpad. So you have brand new computer, and I was in Argentina at that time. So I had a brand new notebook. I took it out of the box and I went to the top of the building. It was like 20 floors high. And at that time I was doing like a point-to-point or multi-point to install an antenna so we can distribute internet and other things. And for some weird reason, at that height, I had problem with the trackpad. The trackpad stopped working or started working very weird. I mean, it was jumping, or maybe it was working. It wasn't working at all. So it was very, very weird. And so the solution was if I take a mouse, but a mouse with a ball, like the old kind, it works fine. If I use maybe a optical mouse or something like that, maybe the problem wasn't that bad, but it's still. And I tried with different computers. So I tried with Acer computers, I tried with a MacBook, with Apple computers, and everything. So all computers that high, and I tried in different buildings. So when I'm that high, because you see like a lot of antennas from cell phone towers and other things, you have that kind of a problem that you cannot expect, maybe being on the ground or maybe being in a lower floor. So this is the kind of problem, at least, that I had in Argentina, when there is a lot of interference in all those places. Also in downtown, I went with my car driving, and then I had the keychain, so I pushed the button so I can lock the car and activate the alarm, and it wasn't working. I mean, I was like maybe 10 feet away or something like that. It wasn't working. Even I left the key, or I put the key next to the window to activate it. Maybe by miracle it works. But being a little bit far away, it doesn't work. And if I am in another place where there is no problem with interference and all those things, everything works fine. Even from further away, it works cool. I mean, like 30 feet away, so no problem. It would be like 10 meters away. So I never had a problem. So you can experience all these kind of problems usually in the big cities. In small cities or small towns, surely you won't have any of this problem. But if it happens to you, you know why is this happening. So the interference, it could be very bad. So another thing that you may encounter in this kind of problem is with the wireless keyboard, mouse. You will see that when you have this kind of problem, usually it happens, like I said before, in big cities where you have a huge building, maybe 20, 30 floors, and then you have, I don't know, maybe 5 departments or 6 departments or 10 departments for each floor. So you have tons of people, and everyone, they have their microwave, they have their routers, they have everything, their cell phones. So there is a huge interference that is terrible. So even I had another issue with another customer that they have their router was in this end, and the computer was maybe 6 feet away or maybe 2 meters away, something like that, and it couldn't get the full signal. I mean, maybe it had 3 bars, so that is all the signal that this person could get, even being that close, and it's almost impossible to try to change channels on the router and everything, because most of them they're being used for someone else. When you have too many people living very close, you may encounter this kind of problem. The solution, like I said, maybe with the mouse, or maybe with interference with the routers and everything, it might be the paint. So if you want that, I can give you the link. You just ask for it on the comment section. I'll try to add it on the description of this video if you want to buy it. That is one of the things. Another thing with the keyboard and mouse, also try to use a very well-known brand, maybe like Microsoft or Logitech or something like that. If you start buying like knockoff China brand, unbranded or something like that, you will have all kind of problems. Usually battery, they don't last long, like maybe 1 month or 2 months, and then they are gone. Also, you may have a problem that they are not very reachable. I mean, the distance that they can cover or they can reach is very short. So that is why I recommend to buy things well known. Also with a PC, another story that I had with computers was I went to a business, and this business, they have, I think, big machines working or something like that. And the computer, the same story like the other one with the notebooks. This was a desktop computer. In their business, the computer wasn't stable at all. When I took it to my shop, everything was working fine, great, no problem. So I took the computer 2 or 3 times, and I never could find the problem. So the thing was, okay, let's try to install a filter on your lines, or try to move the computers elsewhere or something like that, because you have some problem here, because the computer in my shop or any other place, it works just fine. You may not find these kind of problems every month or every day, but maybe once a year, if you live in a big city, or maybe more often, you can find this kind of problems. So that is one thing. The solution for this, like I said, might be moving the computer elsewhere, or if you can install some kind of filter, or maybe a electric conditioner, like or maybe UPS, like APC, a brand. It's like a battery backups. If usually those kind of devices, if there is a shortage, the computer will keep working for 10 or 15 minutes with the battery. Also, it comes with some kind of filter, and it will help you with this to mitigate this kind of problem. So that is one of the things. Another thing is with the old TVs, so the CRT. So the big TVs with the tube, and I mean, those ones that nobody wants right now, at least in US, they threw them away. So if you have something like that, or if you've seen it, or maybe on the sideways, or all the things, usually if you see the train running, and when the TV is on, you will see that it changed the color and all the things. So that is all because the interference. Now with the LCD or LED monitors, usually you won't have any of those problems, at least not on the image. But you may have some kind of problems with something else. Maybe start acting weird or something like that. I've seen that in another places. Like I said, if you have some problem with the interference or something like that, I've seen TVs with this kind of problem, that maybe they turn off by themselves, and then you take the same TV, you take it to the ground, and it works fine, no problem at all. So everything is cool. And if it is in few feet our height, like in maybe the 10th floor or something like that, you will have this kind of problem. Also with cell phones as well, that I had some problems in one of the buildings that I was living in Argentina. That when someone started calling me, I answer the phone, I start talking, and maybe a few minutes I start hearing like static, or the signal is very weak or something like that. And when I go few floors downstairs, everything start working fine. So this is all the problem that you may have. Another thing for networking, like I say here, you have a special that we're going to talk in another video. Forward Ethernet cables, they have like a special shield, is made of aluminum. So this kind of protection, it will help you if there is maybe a storm or something like that, or maybe electric interference. It may degrade or decrease the speed of the internet connection. Also, maybe if there is a storm or something like that, it may kill the Ethernet card of your computer, switch, and everything else. For those, there are protectors. APC, they make a few protectors for Ethernet ports, so that you have to ground in order to make them work. But there is protection almost for anything. Like I said before, if you need any of these links or these things that I was talking in this video, you can leave me a comment in the section below, and I'll try to help you and add those links in the description, so that way you can buy any of those products. So you may see like in USB cables, or maybe for cameras, you will see that some of them are cables with a ferrite bead or choke. So they're like a small filter that they use in both ends, so that way they can suppress certain frequencies in order to keep the data flowing, to lower the data, any error on the data rate. So that is the thing that you may go into to see. So I try not to be very deep in this kind of things, because I mean, if you want to know more, you can go to Wikipedia, you can read, but I'm talking more about the things that you're going to see in the real world, in the everyday life, and how you can solve it. So very easy. So I hope this was useful. Remember, if you have any question, you can leave it below in the comment section. Remember, also you can go to the forum if you want to ask any other question, or if you want to buy any of my classes, computer classes, or any other thing, you can go to my site and find them over there, or you can write me another thing. So I hope everything was helpful. Remember, click like if you like it, dislike if you dislike it. Remember to subscribe to my channel. See you next time. Bye.